She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Hey, I've got a question for you. Is there a certain look for a Christian? Meaning, there's like this certain, kind of expectation or assumption, almost like this unspoken thing. And then, of course, you have to look at which brand of Christianity you're a part of. Because the Amish have their look, the Mennonites have their look, the Catholics have their look, the Christians, there's like so many different brands of Christianity. Is it a Baptist Christian? Is it Pentecostal Christian? Is it a Calvary Chapel? Is it a Calvary Temple? There's so many different brands, almost like drive-thrus that are out there. I know I'm just saying that tongue-in-cheek. Please do not judge me for saying that. But if you really look at it, it's like, yeah, there's so many different divisions. Denominations that are out there with totally different perspectives, right? But I think this is an important discussion for you and I to have. And so here's what I want you to do right now. Wherever it is that you're watching today's show, please just leave me a comment about your opinion about it, because your opinion really does matter. I will give my opinion, and again, my opinion is like pretty broken up, and it's a combination from a lot of different places and experiences and sources and things. But I think this is an important discussion, and why? Because I think when it comes down to success, and here on the Dani Johnson Show, we're about defiling the status quo success definition. We're about pressing against what society has told us, what we've been programmed for, what we've been kind of pushed into, whether it's been pushed by the family, pushed by school, pushed by media, pushed by the books we read, the music that we listen to. There seems to be some conflicts, especially when it comes to women and dressing, because it doesn't seem like the guys are ever judged for what they wear. What are they judged for? Wearing a t-shirt, wearing a dirty t-shirt, and or a shirt that's too tight. Do the guys that wear shirts that are too tight, do they get judged? I don't know. Maybe they do. We need to ask some men. That's what we need to do. So if you're a guy and you're listening right now, have you been judged for the way you dress in a Christian or church or that kind of a environment? Because I know women have again and again and again. There's some places where, women are not allowed to show their shoulders because somehow their shoulders are sexy. I'm not so sure if that's a sexy part of my body. Or they're not supposed to show their arms. Like, I got cellulite on my arms. Okay, if anyone finds that attractive, there's something wrong with you. So anyway, listen, and hot pink. She's going to hell because she's wearing hot pink. Here's why I want to discuss this. Recently, I did a show with a young woman who had been raped before. She was molested as a child. She is now going into strip clubs to give boxes, beautiful gifts to the strippers and loving on them, all in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. I don't know if you saw this program, but you should see it. And she's an absolute gorgeous blonde who grew up in a conservative Christian home right here in Texas. And she has suffered great judgment from people. She looked wonderful, beautifully modestly dressed, by the way, beautifully modestly dressed. And yet we were having part of the discussion about, being judged for the way that we dress, and how in the world is that kind of judgment going to bring people into the kingdom of heaven? That's what I love about what she does. Well, I brought in a comment from a man. His name was Bill. And he says, Dani, you are contradicting yourself. Check out how you dress, tight tops and makeup. Is this the way you dress as a Christian? Okay, so he obviously is of the branding, or perhaps he's of the branding where women are not supposed to wear any makeup. And I can't remember what I was wearing on the show that day, but I'm pretty confident it wasn't fitted. But whatever. So bottom line is that regardless, have I worn fitted things? Yes, I have worn fitted things. The bottom line is this. I'm not talking about what we wear. I'm talking about the judgment of what others wear. That's what I'm talking about. You see, there's a bunch of different heart issues that are going on here, right? So listen, we have no idea what's in the heart of a person and what motivates them to dress. Nobody knows what's in the heart of a person. Nobody. God is the only one that can judge the heart. But how quickly we people, and I sadly to say it, women largely, I have found have been some of the most judgmental people. I find that men are a bit more accepting for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not saying men are more accepting of women. I'm saying men are more accepting in general. At least the men that I've had in my life. Yeah, there's some judgments here and there, but I find that women, and maybe it is that women are more upfront with what's coming in our head and our heart and it comes out of our mouth. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the guys just kind of hide it behind their mouth and maybe the women are the ones who are, just a bit more verbal about it. I don't know. But I want to really know what you think about this, okay? So again, we're talking about this. Does a Christian have a certain look? Are we supposed to have a certain look? Here's a little bit of research that we've done. Compelling Truth writes, I have no idea who they are, but my coworker knows who they are. And so she decided she wanted to put this in today's notes. Compelling Truth writes, so if we care about our physical appearance, the reason we care is much more important than the fact that we care. For example, if we keep fit and trim because we want to glorify God in our bodies, according to 1 Corinthians 6:20, and by the way, Paul wrote about staying fit. He wrote about us making sure that we are keeping our bodies strong and healthy, like an athlete, like an Olympian. Okay, we have a good reason for doing so. That if we're wanting to, again, glorify God with our bodies, keeping ourselves away from disease, keeping ourselves away from things like osteoporosis, keeping ourselves away from weakness, right, as we get older, and so trying to keep ourselves more fit for the point of health. Listen, back in the day when this is written, us women had to wash our clothes on rocks. Us women had to go into the field and pick our food, okay? We had to drain the blood from the animals. Do you hear what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of work just to, be a housewife. Today, we have machines that do almost everything, right? And then not to mention the drive-through, which sadly many women do that for dinner instead of actually preparing a meal. So we use a whole lot less physical activity all the way through our entire lives, from youth all the way up to the day that we die. And so therefore, there must be some kind of physical activity. And mind you, you're talking to someone who hates doing any kind of workout, can't stand it. Ugh, I really wish I loved it. I want to convince myself I need to stop confessing that I hate it, I guess. Anyway, but keeping our bodies healthy and strong is part of our mandate from heaven. It literally is. It's a biblical thing. But mind you, look, so if we want to glorify God in our bodies, as it says in 1 Corinthians 6:20, we have a good reason for doing so. But if we keep fit and trim because we want to impress others with how in shape we are, our reason is pride, which the Bible condemns in many places. I thoroughly agree with that man's statement, or maybe it was a woman's statement. ChristianWorkingWoman.org quotes 1 Timothy 2, 9 through 10, says, I also want women to dress modestly with decency and propriety, not to braid their hair or gold or pearls or expensive clothes, but with good deeds appropriate for women who profess to worship God. Okay, so this particular writing believes we were meant to cover our body, not draw attention to it. Clothes should be carefully chosen to not say sex or pride or money. Okay, now, first of all, whenever we look at the Bible, we've got to look at the context of what was going on, who it was written to, what was happening in that time. What were these women dressed like? I will tell you that they were lavishing themselves, obviously, because he's saying, hey, this is more important than your braided hair, more important than your gold, more important than your jewels. It's more important than how you look. But what you're doing, like your heart is more important, which clearly this is what that's talking about. Now, this brings me to this, okay? We also took some comments off of Facebook, and again, I want to see what you feel about this. But Caitlin had written this, and I want us to be really mindful. I'm bringing this to your attention because of this. When it comes to success, you have to understand people, and you have to know how to work with people. And if you're a judgmental person of people, not only do you harm the people you are judging, but you really harm yourself, and you also harm your ability to thrive in the marketplace. You actually cut off a certain portion of your own market when you are a judgmental person. So let me give you these two. Actually, we'll start with Jamal Rashad, who writes, I have been judged because of my tattoos. Right? Well, listen, today in America, it's like hard to find someone who doesn't have tattoos. It literally is. And not only that, but like, let's say that somebody is all tatted up and then they come up and learn about God. Now they've got tattoos, they're covered with them. So what do? We outcast this person. We don't let this person in our church. We tell this person they're unacceptable and they're going to hell because they've got ink on their body. Listen, the tattoo conversation is a conversation for you and I maybe to have another time. But do you feel it's the right thing for us to judge people because they have tattoos? Do you think that we have a right to judge somebody? Come on, I want you to write below. Whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, wherever it is that you are watching this right this minute, I want to know, what do you think about that? Do you think we have a right to judge people because of their tattoos? Here's what Caitlin wrote. This is a crazy story. I'm going to have to preface some of it because there's some chosen language in here that you will not like that I can actually handle. When I grew up in a house that had all kinds of colorful language, but right here, right now, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings, at least with language. Okay. She says, when I was 14, listen carefully, friend, because this is really important. When I was 14, I had a church leader grab some tape. She pulled my undershirt. I guess I had a tiny bit of cleavage showing at the top and taped it to my chest. I'm biting my tongue. Can you believe that somebody did that? Could you imagine? What gave this woman the right to touch a 14-year-old's body, to touch her clothing? Who did she think she was? And again, it's just a random church leader who goes and grabs her chest, right by her chest, pulls up her shirt and tapes it to her chest. I'm sorry. That is insanely inappropriate. That is absolutely insanely inappropriate. That church leader was not her parent, had no right to touch her body. So listen. So she taped it to her chest, thinking the tape would hold my undershirt up by my collarbone. That's not, anyway. Hold her stuff up to her collarbone. She did this in front of all the younger girls in our class. So embarrassing. I dressed modestly. I'm just curvy. I can't shave my hips or my booty off. I'm 28 now, so that was years ago. It definitely had me hating my body, even though God made me this way. Wow. So do you think that that's right? Is that right? And is that showing and expressing the love of our Father? Isn't there another way to have the conversation? Is there another way to have the conversation? You know what I found? Recently, I was at a book fair, the Hispanic book fair, and I was blown away with what I saw. So our books, Spirit-Driven Success, First Steps to Wealth, Grooming the Next Generation for Success, has all been translated in English as well as 8 other languages. I mean, translated in English. That's really funny. Translated in Spanish. So therefore, I was invited as a speaker to the largest book fair in the whole Hispanic market. It takes place in Miami every year. So I remember getting there, and of course, I'm dressed for that kind of a crowd. Everything's covered, right? So I get there, and what do I see? I see the MC is a gorgeous Latin woman with a short skirt, no sleeves, stilettos, beautiful makeup, gorgeous hair, and she opens the thing in prayer. So then I see that the rest of the women are dressed just like her. Like, I was like, my people! First of all, I'm Latin, okay? So you have to understand there's like this expression inside of the blood of a Latin, just like the expression inside of the blood of an African. And God is not surprised by what he created at all. He's not surprised. I mean, he made these different cultures to express themselves in all of these different ways. It's really amazing. Okay, so anyway, so I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. And these women are not being judged. They're being honored. They are not sex symbols. They're not putting off sexual like vibes to anybody that's in the crowd. The place was packed, and we're talking very famous authors and American authors who are there, and some of which who are very, very conservative. But here's what's so interesting. In the Latin market, that is not uncomfortable for anybody. That is not unacceptable for anybody. That is cultural. This is cultural clothing. This is the way that culture expresses themselves. I've also spoken in Latin churches filled with 3,000 people, and you'll never guess what I saw there. The same kind of clothing, stilettos, short skirts, sleeveless, spaghetti straps even. And yet these people love God with their whole hearts. And so here's my point. My point is you and I can argue all day long about what the uniform is supposed to be according to the uniform gods, whoever they are, whoever the uniform gods are, because even how you dress on a Sunday, you can actually go to an Amish church and they will look at you and say, you're not modest enough. How come your hair is not covered? Right? And by the way, the Amish, I've spent a lot of time with the Amish. I've actually done private First Steps to Success events for the Amish. And I can tell you, the most precious people. I have had them on our trips to Israel. We always have, 25 to 50 Amish and Mennonites at every First Steps that we do. We're talking, and some of them, like there's been some First Steps where they've arrived in a horse and a buggy. Okay? So we can argue all day long for a year about what the dress code is for the so-called Christian. And we can pull various different people to the table from various different, like the Holy Ghost Pentecostals can come to the table and go, women are not supposed to wear jewelry, according to Timothy. They're not supposed to wear any gold. They're not supposed to have any makeup on. They're not supposed to do anything with their hair. They're supposed to wear dresses, okay? So we can have the people that want to take the Bible and argue from that position, and I understand that position. And I got to tell you, I love the purist that's in them. I love that purity, that their desire, that if it is a place of purity that they're fighting for, or if it's a place of pride. If it's a place of pride and judgment, who's more wrong? The one who's not dressing according to their law, their rule, and their interpretation of the Bible? Or is the pride of their heart that is judging, is the pride of the heart that is judging in more error than the one who is dressing whichever way they are dressing? Because really, none of us really know. We have our own interpretation that man has interpreted for us. So we can bring all walks of faith to the table. We can. Every one of us can bring all walks of faith to the table. I love the Jewish perspective as well. Like, men are very visual, so we want to help to protect them so we don't stimulate them. That man's responsible for his own heart. And yes, if a woman is seductively on purposely trying to look sexy to entice a man, that's her heart issue. And that's between her and God. And that is not a good thing for her. She's going to end up in trouble. Maybe not maybe she likes that kind of trouble, which is not be a good thing. So do you understand what I'm saying? So look, we can argue all day long about what is the dress code of a Christian. And I believe that all of us will be a little bit right in some places, and we might be a little bit wrong. But there is one place that has no argument. One. And that is our heart that judges people for how they dress. That, we both can agree, is absolutely wrong. We do not deserve or are not called to or have the right to wear the royal robes of Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah. None of us do. We are not worthy. All have fallen short of the grace of Almighty God. Every one of us have fallen short. So here's my position. My position is I'm responsible for my heart. And I don't even know all that's inside my heart, and neither do you. That if you really were honest and transparent with yourself, the Bible's clear. The heart is deceitful above all else. The heart is deceitful above all else. So, friend, what's your position? You want to be the judge and stand with all the rest of the judges who keep people away from truth, who keep people away from love? All the judges who can't seem to build a business the way they want to or get promoted in their career the way they want to. Their marriages are dry and brittle and boring. Nobody can trust them. No one wants to be around them. And people lie to them all day long, saying things like, I love you, but deep down inside, it's an obligation. It's not out of the truest part of their heart. Judgmental people are lonely people. So my position, I'm going to stay away from judgment. I had a man walk into our house the other day. He is covered in tattoos. He's in his 60s. I'm telling you, his head has tattoos. He's got them everywhere, his whole body. And if I was one of them judgmental Christians, I probably would not have let him in my house. But he's one of the contractors working on our house. And I just started asking him, man, look at you. Look at all that creativity all over you. When did you get your first one? I am making the statement of this. I choose to love no matter how you dress. I choose to love no matter what you dress your body with on your skin or if it's just clothing. I choose to love the prostitute. I choose to love the girl in the skirt. I choose to love the guy that has big muscles wearing that tight shirt. I choose to love. That's going to be my position because I will reap what I sow. And if my heart is hardened and my judgment is at its fullness, then I'm going to be judged in the very same way that I judge. And if I'm going to be judged in the same way I judge, then I limit myself from love. I limit myself from growth. I limit myself from fulfillment and satisfaction. I limit myself and I limit my company. I limit our staff. I limit our coworkers. I limit our potential. I limit the poor from getting the feeding that they need. I limit building more houses for the poor because I cut off my market if I'm judgmental. And guess what? Your dreams might be aborted because of your judgment. Your opportunity financially could be aborted because of your judgment. So, what do I say about what is the Christian uniform? I don't know. I don't know. All I do know is I'm not the judge of the uniform. God is, and I will be judged by him with his mercy and his grace. I will be judged by him, by the reason why I wear what I wear, what I put on myself, what is approved by my husband, what is declared by my husband, what he enjoys. Who do I dress for? My Father in heaven and my spouse. Who do you dress for? Your church? Do you dress so that you won't be judged? Is it working? Friend, we can go on and on with this. Anyway, I want to see your comments. I can't wait to see what, as you enter inside of this discussion. Like I said, there's one place that we can line up all the judges and everyone will disagree with each other. But there's one place all of us will agree. Judgment is from the pit of hell. It's pride. And we're going to get in trouble for that one. All right, that's it for me today. Listen, have a good day and do it on purpose. Seriously. Have a good day and do it on purpose. And if you want more videos like this, just leave us a comment below and we'll be happy to continue to produce more conversation just like this. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.